Before acquiring a pet, it is important to conduct thorough research. I hope that my experience proves helpful to you and saves you time, stress, and money. When I got my dog Snoopy in 2008, we were completely unaware of his breed. In my hometown, Belgrade, Serbia, Snoopy was actually Hungarian, and his breed was unfamiliar to us. I purchased him with a mistaken belief that all Bichons were similar, not realizing that this category includes various breeds, such as Maltese, Frise, Havanese, Shih Tzu, and Coton Toulier. Consequently, I had to purchase numerous books to educate myself about Havanese dogs at the time. In the Spanish passport, Maltese was written because Habanero was not available as an option. This dog is friendly, has a lively personality. He is very sociable and dislikes being left alone. If I wasn't around, Snoopy would seek refuge in my closet. They can experience feelings of sadness and depression. This breed is also known as a clown dog because they can be quite silly. They are highly intelligent, making them easy to train. I was able to teach him to speak and perform various tricks, although it required a lot of patience and affection. While they're great with children, it is important to supervise their interactions, as children can play too roughly at times. They tend to bark a lot when someone is at the door or when the phone rings, which was a challenge for me while working on the computer. To address this, I had to silence the doorbell and keep the hallway door closed. I also tried using a special necklace that emitted a sound only he could hear when he barked, but ultimately the changes I made in his environment helped reduce his barking. This is probably the hardest part. If you let it grow, then you will have a harder time grooming it. It tends to tangle a lot, especially if they're chewing their fur because of allergies or parasites. I would always recommend trimming it frequently. I used to trim his fur at least once a month by myself. Avoid washing it more often because their skin then becomes sensitive. Shampoos dry their skin. Snoopy hated swimming and bathing. For some reason, he always had fear when it comes to touching his paws, since he was a puppy. This is not the case with all Havanese, but it was with Snoopy. For this reason, he wore shoes. At that time, you could not buy it, so I made it. This was a way to avoid washing his paws too often. Another reason was because if the fur around the paws was moist frequently, it would get yeast infections. Be mindful that if you use flea protection, put it directly on the skin, it will be toxic for him and the water he swims in would kill the creatures living there. This is why I prefer giving him tablets. Prazimec D was cheap, simple, and it worked for a wide spectrum of parasites. I recommend getting these brushes, and don't forget pulling the hairs from the ears. The eyes need to be cleaned as well, daily. I recommend dry tissue paper first, and if it is not enough, then make a tea and let it cool down before using two damp cotton pads. The best diet for this dog is variety. Sugar is definitely a no for all animals, but fruits like apple, banana, pumpkin, potatoes, beetroot, carrots, some nuts, cooked meat, rice are very good for them. Fresh carrots are especially good for their eyes and teeth, which can develop issues over time. Dental care is crucial, and regular plaque removal is necessary. I used to wash his teeth every night. In the first few years of his life, I did not take care of it that well because I thought that these sticks are enough. My other dog, Ike, which was Labrador Retriever, did not have any plaque ever. You can use this liquid or plaque off made with algae. I recommend algae because it is also an antibiotic. Now, not all Havanese have epilepsy, but Snoopy started having it when he was only 1 year old. I took him to the vet and he just told me to just wait for it to pass every time it happens and gave me no prescription or recommendations. So years passed by until I learned on my own that it can be controlled with the right diet. So the carbohydrate diet provoked it in him. Therefore, I began cooking meat and putting it over a little bit of canine food at first. Later, I completely replaced it with a totally homemade food for him as he got older. Another very important thing I did was giving him regularly coconut oil because it is recommended to epilepsy patients. Sometimes I would give him antibiotics, but only targeting the mouth area. So when the smell is funky, that is a sign of a problem. For my dog, what made me realize later on is that every time he was taking this medicine, he would not have epilepsy. Anyways, the diet helped a lot, but also taking more care of his teeth. His teeth were his greatest weakness, and he died from it. I wasted a lot of time with vets who were not specialists in this area. The problem is that we started living in the north of Spain, and here I did not find a competent vet for his problem. Besides lost money, the greatest loss was the time to help him. My experience was brutal. I'm still in shock of how it all unfolded. So my recommendation is to always look for specialists and don't rely on your vet too much. Talk with a lot of people in your neighborhood and research. I chose not to castrate it because I personally thought it was wrong and unnecessary in my case because he was living with me and did not attack other dogs to mate. I removed them finally when they had no function and started changing. His one testicle disappeared disappeared and it all became one bigger one, which started growing, so I had no choice but to remove it. After every walk, I would clean first his stomach and then his anus with a wet wipe. While cleaning the anus, I would press the anus gland from the outside, which is really easy, and clean it that way regularly. This helps your dog a lot. Also, you avoid the sway from it building up and then having to pay a vet to clean it from the inside. Please like if you found this experience is useful. Take care and stay tuned for the new video.